Hey, Tubies! It's Psychic Bob. Well, here we are. It's Sunday. And you know what that means? It's time for the witching hour. That's right. Here we are. I'm with the old crew tonight. We got Lady Angela. We got Lord Tony. We are the officers of the Order of the Purple Cord. And we're all present. And we hope you're present with us. We're so excited. I want each of the crew to say hi. Why don't you guys jump in?
Hi, everybody. So excited for tonight's show. So glad you're all here, and let's see what happens.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. It should be a very informative show tonight.
Yay. I tell you, you know, I couldn't do this show without these two. I mean, Psychic Bob trying to do an hour and answer questions, it's overwhelming. You know, I have to call in the experts too, you know. And so I'm so thankful for Lord Tony and Lady Angela. You know, Lord Tony is the guardian. For those of you who are new here, he is the guardian of the Order of the Purple Cord. And he's kind of stands guard and holds the space whenever we gather and protects us. And he's always watching out for the Order. So I'm so thankful. Lady Angela is our high priestess of the Order of the Purple Cord. If you want to learn about the Order of the Purple Cord, we got a number of places you can go. You go to my website at robert-hickman.com, and I've got a whole write-up there about that. And you can also go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Order of the Purple Cord. I think, Lady Angela, can you tell me about that?
That'll get them there. Yep.
Or you can, and I actually encourage you to visit all three sites. Also over at Lady Angela's site, rarewiccaspells.com, it tells about the Order. So each of them has a little bit of elements about the Order, and if you go to all three of the sites, you'll get a kind of an overall sense. And if you want to join the Order, send us an email, and we got instructions at the site how to join the Order. So we hope you'll be part of us. It's free membership, and it'll explain all that there. Well, you know, I tell you, this is an exciting week. You know, a lot of you have been telling me how excited you've been about my recent work with the black crystal. Last week, we did a black crystal seance and got some amazing communications with the spirit world. And this week, I got a revelation about UFOs. And if you didn't see that, check in my video on UFO Friday. You can see that I had messages about what's coming in the UFO community. So you want to check that out. So many of you have been writing, says, Psychic Bob, I want to get a crystal. How do I get a crystal like that? Well, you know, we got a great resource. And, you know, as I say, we in the craft want to support our local community. And Lady Angela, I think you can tell us a little bit more about how to get one of these crystals.
Yep, I have a couple versions of them available on my website at rarewiccaspells.com. I have one the size of Bob's there, which is, it's about a 3-inch diameter or 80mm diameter.
This
and then
is
I have, which is about 3 inches. And so I have a little smaller one available as well. And all you could do is just go to rarewiccaspells.com, type in crystal ball in the search. It'll pop up all of them I have, and you'll see them there. Or, you know, Psychic Bob has a category on my website. So there's a category at Rare Wicca Spells called Psychic Bob's Favorites. You'll find that crystal ball that Bob has there. So just go to rarewiccaspells.com, go to Psychic Bob's Favorites category, and you'll see the crystal ball. And don't forget to use coupon code Spirit Channel when you check out to save 10%.
I tell you, you know you've hit it big time when a major store like Lady Angela's gives you your own section. While you're there, you can also pick up Psychic Bob's Spells. A lot of you have been writing saying, Psychic Bob, how do I start with magic? Well, I created a whole special series. We were like 10 or 12 spells over there that you can buy. I don't know if you buy them as a pack or just individual. I don't know how she does that, but I know you can buy them individually. That's probably a good way to start. And you can test the magic for yourself. And I've written all these spells are my creation, and they'll help you get into the magical energy.
Absolutely.
So there we go. Anyway, Lord Tony, you know, I was going to ask you, you know, you also, you know, you've been doing a lot of work recently, helping a lot of people. And, you know, you are a very gifted healer. I don't know if everybody knows that about you. Not only are you a guardian, you're a powerful, gifted angel communicator and healer. And I thought maybe you could tell everybody a little bit more about what you do, because they may not know.
What I do is I work basically through the angels, and I let them use their guide me with their energies and to send long distance energy healing to whoever wants it. That's pretty much it. You know, the energy will go where it needs to go. You don't have to tell me where it is, you know, where the problems are. It'll find its way to you, or you can just tell me what it is and be very specific about it. And it goes a little bit quicker that way, but other than that, it's real nice. My cat wants to talk too. I have she's distracting me. But yeah, if you want to go to my website and hear the full story on how I started all of it, just Google Lightbringer's Angel, and it'll take you right there and give you the whole scoop on what's going on. Got links to Psychic Bob and Lady Angela and Order of the Purple Cord all on there too. So right now it's set
on there now. I didn't realize that.
Set up for donations only. I'm just trying to keep the website going, so don't have to worry about paying for anything unless you feel like it.
Well, you know, guys, this really, you know, and Tony, I think you're very generous with your time. And I hope that those of you who seek out Tony's services will, you know, make a donation. We in the craft, you know, we have to support each other. You know, that donation allows Tony to be here with us each week. And I think it's really important. And, you know, it's from a spiritual place. We never take something without giving something. It's just the law, especially in the Wiccan community. So, you know, go, you know, let Tony help you, but also remember to support him as well. It's very important. Tony, I'm so glad you're a resource because, you know, there are a lot of unethical people out there. And you're one of the people I know I can send anybody to. I don't even have to worry about it. You know, they're in good hands.
Yeah, I won't steer you wrong. I'm not one of those people that will. I've actually heard of some places that'll actually just do one healing session, but it's meant for a whole group of people, and they charge each individual for it. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not one of those people that'll do that. Your time is my time, and vice versa. So,
and I think that's so important.
Yeah, what you get is me, the angels, and whatever spirits decide to help out.
I love it. Well, see, guys, so you got, you know, a lot of you been asking, how do I get started on my spiritual journey? And you see with resources like Lady Angela, she's wonderful tools, wonderful spells. Lord Tony will get your energy in the right direction. You know, you can also call me for private reading as well. I do private sessions, one-on-one, and you know, that's another resource. So all of us here are here to help you, and we want to be part of your journey. And that's why we set up this show, didn't we, guys? You know, we wanted every week for people to gather and learn about the craft and, you know, get their questions answered. So I'm just glad you guys are here.
Lotus Night Rain asked a great question for Tony. Are you able to also send healing energy to pets?
Funny, I just answered that in chat too. I can send it to anywhere.
Oh, I see.
Anyone? Yeah. So, but, there's no limit to where the energy can go. So I'm not sure what my limit would be as to what I can do. I haven't really tested it out, but I know I've reached England, Latvia. I've had people actually. One of the people I worked on in England actually. She knew I was going to do it again the next day after the first time I worked on her, but she didn't know what time the day I was going to do it. And when I finished up on her, she sent me a text asking me if I had just worked on her. I said, yeah, I just finished up on you. So, because she felt the exact same energy as she did before.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love it. I love it. I got to give a few shout outs here. I just got my chat going. Forgive me, guys. You know me in technology. It looks like Jennifer Croxton's here tonight. Shadowlander's here. Gab is here. Gab's all the way from London. Lotus Night Rain is here. Sage is here. Oh, we got a lot of people. This is so exciting. I'm so glad you guys are with us because, you know, we've got some interesting things to talk about tonight, and I'm really excited. And I thought, Lady Angela, you might want to kind of, you know, lead in and kind of share some ideas about what we're going to do tonight.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk on our Purple Cord Facebook page about runes and sigils, which are magical symbols, and just different questions and comments and people sharing pictures and stuff that they've done. There's been a lot of really awesome information on there. So we thought we might cover that topic tonight, you know, magical symbols, what we think about them, what they are, and runes, which runic symbols are also sigils as well, because they're magical symbols. They're symbols that have a meaning to them. And I got something to show here. I actually just completed a 2-book set, a book of shadows, and the person who ordered them has a special sigil to him, and it's the letter X, or the symbol of an X, you know, with the little lines. And one thing you can do with sigils is you can put them on to empower certain magical items. For example, these were on his books of shadows. I got to show you these because they're just awesome. I never made any that were kind of like steampunkish. See that? It's got gears and all. And in the middle with the keys is an X. That's the sigil this person wanted on the book. See? So that's an example of sigils too. And I'll let you guys go ahead from there.
Oh, I love that. Well, you know, Lord Tony and I, we share a love of mystical sigil. This is something I'm so excited about tonight because one of my early delves into magical work, similar to Lord Tony's. And, you know, first time I actually learned about sigils, it was through one of Lord Tony's favorite books, the Necronomicon. You know what I'm talking about, Lord Tony?
Oh, yeah, I do.
And I have one of my this is my little Necronomicon. I have different versions, but this is the spirit. These are the spirits of the Necronomicon that are the helpful spirits. Now, some spirits in the Necronomicon are a little scary and a little intense, but you know, like all magic, there's good and there's bad, and you have to really weigh it. But the little Necronomicon spell book uses only the undangerous spirits. Now, because they're not dangerous doesn't mean they're not powerful. But this is a great book. If you want to start learning about sigil magic, they explain in this book how to use this. And every page has a sigil on it. And for those of you who are just starting out, this is a great way when you don't know how to make sigils. It will teach you, you know, how to draw the sigil. It encourages you at the beginning. Trace them, learn to get the flow of the sigil. But every sigil is, I like to call sigils the calling card of the spirit. It's its own unique, you know, calling card. Lord Tony, I'm sure you know about some of these sigils, don't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know all about the 50 names of Marduk. So yeah, I've gone through lots of those. I've used plenty of them, and I've got plenty hidden all over the place in this house from using them, because you got to keep them hidden once you have used them, at least. So
yeah, the sigils, you know, there are different types of sigils, and particularly in this type, they're really, once you create them, they're hallowed. You can't just show them around, take them out to parties. They're really meant to be reserved at the altar or within sacred space. So, you know, definitely that's a good point, Tim, because when you are doing sigil magic, you want to know what that sigil means and how it's to be handled and used. In some magic, people are told to destroy the sigil at the end of the spell. So, you know, depending on what you're doing, you really need to take your time and study. You know, I think that the worst thing to do, and I've seen actually people do this. I was at a ritual once, an open circle, and this guy came in and he said, well, you know, I'm just going to pull a sigil blindly out of a book and use it tonight. And he hadn't researched it. And he actually used a sigil that was inappropriate for what he was trying to do. And because I was a guest there, I couldn't just jump in and say anything. But, you know, needless to say, his magic didn't go far. So sigils are powerful, but you really want to study them. I think that's so important. You know, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of types of sigils. This is only one that I have, but there are a lot of other sigils. And Lady Angela, you have some sigils that you like too, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, a lot of times people will actually put, and myself included, we put sigils on our magical items. Like I was saying before, for example, a chalice, you know, just a pentacle on there, or whatever symbol or sigil you like embellished on there. I've seen the blades of ritual knives with either carved in or drawn and sigils on them. And my own actually has some hieroglyph. It's an Isis athame. But see here, it has, these are hieroglyphs, which is also another example of sigils. You know, they're symbols that have meaning behind them. Runes, runic stones is another example. Tony has some interesting examples of adorning magical items with sigils too, don't you, Tony?
Yeah, I've got a few. I have my cat keeps walking all over and shaking the table. I have the pendant I have on for one. Let me show you real quick. I made this out of titanium a number of years ago, and it does have runes all over it and magical, however you want to really say, but it's magical phrases like success in magic, protection. Well, I can't remember everything I put on there. They're all over it. I got them on the front, got them on the back. I got them on the sides, if I can show you one. I'm not sure. Even got my own. I'm not going to show you one part. I have my name that I made up for it, and I have that all over it. And of course, runes that I pretty much made these a few years back, but pretty much out of polymer clay. We got the symbols in red. Don't really know much about them. I felt I needed to make them, but honestly, I really have no idea how to use these. So I wouldn't mind learning how. It'd be kind of helpful in the near future. So.
Well, you know, I think that's amazing, Tony. I'm amazed at that that pendant that you created. That's pure titanium.
Pure titanium. That went through. I probably broke about $50 worth of what do I call them? End mills. End mills when I was making it, because it's a really hard version of titanium, so it doesn't scratch. It didn't want to engrave very easily either. So
I'm impressed. Now you know, Tony, that raises a really good point about sigil magic, because when you make your own items charged with sigils, I think they're more powerful, because not only do they have the power of the spirit that it has your personal spiritual power connected with it. I think it makes it a stronger bond between you and the forces you're working with. That's amazing. You know, speaking of pendants, I'll show you one of my pendants. I got two here. This was a gift to me by a friend of mine a few years ago. And this is a famous sigil. It's called the Witch's Knot. You guys can see that. And this one's made of pewter, and this is an ancient Celtic symbol. And witches of old used to draw this on the doors of their houses. They'd wear it as pendants. The witch's knot can be put on anything or worn as a medallion itself. And this is a thing, you might want to look this up, guys. Look up Witch's Knot. That's what it's called, the Witch's Knot. And you can learn to draw these. You know, I've practiced drawing them, and can draw them and put them on, you know, anything in your house. Put them on paper and stick it on your door, or if you own your own house and can paint it on the door or carve it. Very powerful symbol and used by many witches in the past. Also with that is, now, you know, one of my other favorite signs, and this is one of the symbols of the Order of the Purple Cord, is the triquetra. And this is an ancient witch symbol as well. It comes out of the Celtic lands. And you know, this also, it's the represents multiple things. The triple goddess represents life, birth, rebirth. It represents maiden mother crone. You know, it can represent a lot of things, past, present, future. But the triquetra is known also as a very powerful sigil. And again, you can paint it on stuff, you know, wear it however you want. So, you know, you might want to look up both of these, the Witch's Knot and the triquetra, as sigils that you could work with and maybe incorporate into your life as well, you know.
Gav Hines puts a wonderful comment, and his comment it's really wonderful, and I'm going to read it here. But it has to do with how you can make your own sigils. You don't have to necessarily go from a book, you know, and use a symbol there. You can actually create your own sigils. Gav Hines, I'm going to read his comment here because it's wonderful. He says that first he writes his intent. So you get a paper, you write out what your intention is. Then you remove all the vowels, so cross out the vowels, and any repeating letters, like if there's 2 L's or whatever, you're only going to use 1 L. Whatever letters are remaining, then you kind of just play with it and put them together and draw them until you create a symbol or a sigil that you like. So he says, He turns the remaining letters into a sigil. Then he breaks that sigil down again till it's a simple sigil, you know. So that's a way that you can make your own sigils using just your intent.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing I was just going to bring up. I made this just before we started tonight, and it pretty much just shows, you know, the phrase I used was, be on your merry way. There is nothing you want here. And I just took all the letters without the vowels and just made them all single letters, combined them into the sigil down there on the bottom. Just a real quick one. I didn't take it down any further than that, but you guys can get the idea how you can start doing things up like this.
That's beautiful, Tony. Wow. That'd take me about 2 hours to make. I love that, though.
That is amazing.
That's
really
really
come down to just a couple of squiggles if you wanted to, but you know, that was like 10 minutes there.
all right. I'm impressed. See, Tony definitely knows about sigil magic. You know, one of the things that I do too, I love that, by the way. I'm gonna have you make me a sigil. One thing that I do in my house is, and this is a technique, I have a blackboard, and I a lot of times just prop this up on my altar. And the cool thing is that I can, you know, depending on what I'm working on for the day, I can put a sigil, oh, I just broke my chalk, on my blackboard. So for example, like I like the runes, okay? So like if I feel that I need protection for the day and I want to set that intent in my house, like for example, we use the rune algies, okay? That's a rune. This is what the rune algies looks like. And sometimes I'll just draw that rune on my board and set it up on my altar. Mm-hmm. And that sets the intent. Sometimes I'll put a circle around it to encase it, to draw focus to it, you know. But there are a lot of ways, you know, you can bring runes into your life. And I would encourage you guys, you know, you might want to explore working with chalk also, because, you know, it kind of is the earth energy, and it kind of grounds it down to earth energy and brings it into the present. And so like I can just set this up on my altar, and I've got a rune with me all day long, and I can change it as the day goes on, you know, or in the next day. But, you know, chalk is a great way to start exploring runes as well. So I want to share that with you guys.
Bob, people are asking in the chat room, and also Tony kind of asked too, what are different ways that people can use runes? How can runes be used? How can people work with runes?
Well, this is a really great question. Runes, first of all, every rune has kind of two energies around it. There's the divinatory element, and then there's the magical element, and they're not always the same. So I'd say the first thing you want to do is learn what the runes are. Each one has a meaning. Like, for example, the one we have here is called algies. Algies is, in divination, represents divine power coming to somebody. In magic, it represents protection. So they're a little different, but they're similar. And so the first thing you got to do is learn what each rune means. And then, you know, you can start to just use them. Like you can get a set of rune stones. Like one of the ways when I first started, I literally would just carry a bag of rune stones with me, because I felt like the runes themselves carried a vibration that were protective. So that's one way. You can also have little pendants, buy little pendants or make them that have rune symbols on them. Again, you need to know what the rune is, but that's a way to start. And, you know, depending on, you know, how much time you have and energy in your home environment, I've known people actually to, for example, paint on the outside of their door frame runes that like bring blessing and protection to the house. And runes, similar to like what Tony created, can be combined into a sigil. And so you can have what we call a bind rune. And a bind rune is similar to like what Lord Tony did. But so, for example, like I have here algies, okay? So I want protection, but let's say that I also want to focus on protection for a new business that I'm starting. Let's say I'm in a town that's kind of hostile, and I'm starting a psychic business. And suppose I say, well, you know, I need something that's going to bless my business and give it energy, but also protection. Well, we can combine this with the rune Berkana. Let me just show you. This is what the rune Berkana looks like. Can you guys see that up there? So we can take this sigil and we can combine it with Berkana. And now we have what's called a bind rune. And so that would be an example of a binder. That's one. So this would mean protection around new beginnings. And if I were starting my business in a new town, this would be something I could paint and put it on the front door of my business or under my cash register or somewhere in my shop or house. So this is one way you can use runes also.
And I'd like to expand on that too, Bob. You don't have to necessarily paint the runes. Like if you're putting it outside, you don't have to use it with like bright paint. You can paint using holy water and just dip your brush or your finger in the holy water and mark your symbols on your door or on your, I've actually put, I've done the sigil, which is the pentacle, in holy water on my windows inside the house. And when it dries, the sigil is there, even though you can't see it because it was done with holy water. You could do the same thing underneath your doormat. Put a protective sigil and then put the mat down. Nobody knows that you put it there. They can't see it, but the protection and the intention is there. Or even stones you have outside. Riverhawk says that she just picked a bunch of flat rocks from the park and hand-painted runes on each rock. I remember doing that as well. I always watch for round, flat rocks just in nature, and all on one side put a rune. And years ago when I lived in an apartment complex, I would actually put those stones outside around my front door upside down. So just like some pebbles, but really it was protective runes.
Lady Angela, I think that's amazing. Yes, you're absolutely right. I forgot about using the water as well, because a lot of times what I do, I have holy water. You know, I used to be Catholic, and in Catholic households, they have holy water fonts by the door. Well, I still keep holy water by my door, but I'll take it and I'll trace the sign of the pentacle on my forehead in water before I leave the house each day. And it's protective, and it works. Sometimes I'll do a rune, or if I want to really cover my body, I'll do a giant rune over my whole body and trace it in water and sprinkle myself with it. So there are a lot of ways. I think that's really brilliant, you know. And I love your idea about the pebbles outside the door range. That's a really powerful thing. You know, I just saw, what's her name? Films, Spirit Journey Films said that she's used I Ching symbols as kind of a sigil before. And I think you can do. Absolutely. A lot of those bring prosperity and they bring transformation. So yes, good point.
And any symbol can become a sigil. It's just when you put your intent in that symbol and then it becomes something to you because you have your intent and you put meaning to it. Then it's your sigil, which sigil is like a magical symbol. Lost Scotsman has a good question. He says, is there a difference between the dark pentagram and the white pentagram? I think he's meaning if you were to draw it in a certain color, that's a good idea. Like if you wanted to work fire magic, you could draw it in red. You know, or did you have more to add to that, Bob?
Yeah, I think the pentacle, you know, like I'm not really a believer in it being evil. Like, you know, a lot of people say reversed, you know, upside down. If you have the 2 points up, like the reverse pentagram is satanic. It's true the Satanic Church took that, but really that was not the original meaning. Reverse pentacle is believed to be evil, but really it is the second degree symbol of Wicca. It means spirit coming into matter. And so also I think, you know, in terms of light and dark, I think it goes to intent. See, I mean, our Western culture has created a paradigm saying all dark is evil, all light is good. And that's not necessarily true because there are a lot of people who are drawn to dark energy, but it's not necessarily evil. It's just darker, you know. So I think, again, it goes back to intent. Good question.
Absolutely. And there's people now talk about, you know, the origins of runes they're talking about in the chat. And, you know, there's many legends about the different origins. There's the Nordic legend. There's the legend it came from Odin. There's a lot of different legends. But truthfully, even the cavemen drew symbols. They had a symbol that meant fire. They had a symbol that meant cattle, that meant hunting. Those were sigils as well. As so there's a lot of different origins, just as broad a variety of different like tarot decks or oracle decks that there's also a big variety of runic not decks, but there are some rune decks, but of the rune stones. There's a variety of the symbols. It's not just one set thing.
Absolutely, you know. And this is the thing, if you go across cultures, there are many symbols. In fact, I was talking to somebody earlier today about voodoo. And in voodoo, they have a thing, they take chalk or flour, it's usually flour or cornmeal, and on the floor of their temples, they trace designs that represent the voodoo lwa, the spirits of voodoo. So like one of the voodoo lwa that I like is a Dambalawedo. And Dambalawedo has a symbol. It's usually done like two snakes dancing around a pole. And that's like wherever his temple is, they draw this. And it's like their sigil. And before they do their ceremonies or spells, they trace down these designs. And they're very stylized. And if you look up voodoo, sigils, you'll see it. So.
Absolutely. I have a lot of different rune sets on Rare Wicca spells, and some of them I've made myself. I wanted to show you some ideas that you can make yourself if you would like. But I have real like tumbled gemstones. For example, these are black onyx. I have some quartz ones. You can get polished stones and you can carve into them. For example, here is the a star symbol. This is one of the witches' runes set. This one means a wish coming true. That's the wishing star. And I carved it in with the Dremel, and then I filled it in with the paint pen. That's one way you can do it. And for example, here's the harvest rune. I tell you, cutting into these stones with the Dremel, like Tony cutting into that titanium, it's nearly impossible. It's super hard. Some stones are softer than others. These black ones I was successful with. The quartz, yeah, no, I didn't end up carving it because it's such a hard stone. But that was an example. And also, doing show and tell with stones now. Here's some ametrine I was going to make a set of runes with. Any kind of tumbled stone or flat stone or wood. Wooden runes are wonderful too. Here was some black onyx ones I had planned to make runes with, just different tumbled stones. So just giving you all ideas for how you can make some. Or even you could go to Walmart and they have the little stones that are for your fish tank and all. I've before in the past took those and on the flat side drawn a rune and made myself a set in a little bag. And then I could pull from them and work. To learn them, you have to work with them. So,
that is so true. And one of the things that I found, particularly when I do rune readings, it's amazing to me. The runes are very specific. Like there's no safety middle ground. It's like pretty out there. And they've been very accurate in my life. I'm a believer in runes. For readings as well as for magic, Lord Tony, on your pendant, do you have the Nordic runes or is that a different set of runes?
Yeah, these are all the Nordic runes.
They're cool. Very cool. Well, I think it's so important, like part of magic. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Lady Angela, you were talking earlier about, using water to do runes. Another way you can use runes is to carve them on candles.
Oh, yes.
So if you do, this is something I've used. So you get a candle that matches your intent and then use the rune that also supports that intent. And carve it. Just take a nail or a pen or a knife and you scratch the rune into the wax. And then, you anoint it with oil to set it. Wonderful way to do sigil magic. And you don't have to just do runes. You can do any sigil, really. But runes are really good for candles because they're straight and angular. It's easier to carve. Sometimes when you're doing candles, I find it personally just a little challenging to do curved designs. It's a little harder. Maybe I'm just not coordinated. But runes work great for candle magic.
Mm-hmm. You can also draw it on a slip of paper and put it down on the table and sit the candle on top of it. That's another way to do rune magic too.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're lucky that you live near a jeweler who does custom jewelry, there used to be a store in my town where you could go in literally and they would make anything you wanted. No questions asked. They were really good. They're actually Wiccans that ran it. And I had a friend make custom jewelry for me as a gift there one time. And I was so sad because that store's no longer here. But I just recently got a beautiful blue sapphire. You guys want to say it's a midnight blue. And this is a real sapphire. It's not a fake. And I thought, boy, if I had the right jeweler, I'd go have a sigil carved on that sapphire. Gems can have sigils carved into them as well. But I don't have anybody who does that anymore. So, but I would do it if I could.
Absolutely. I actually have some tattoos on my arm that are actually sigils. Like I don't know if you can see it. I have a sun and a moon and a Libra symbol, an eye of Horus and an Ankh. And these are also sigils. Earlier, Lotus Night Rain had asked, can sigils be tattoos? I think absolutely sigils are wonderful for tattoos. Mine are. So
absolutely. In fact, speaking of jewelry, I just found here in my jewelry box, this is one of my rings I've been wearing for years. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yep.
That's the sigil. Do you know what that sigil is, Lady Angela? Can you recognize it?
Jupiter.
The sigil of Jupiter. That's right. And this is the ring that I wore. I bought this ring when I first started my psychic business full time. And I bought it as it was funny. I was in a shop and I had it. And the guy who was selling didn't even know what it was. He goes, well, that's some weird ring with symbol. And I instantly knew what it was. I said, what's the sigil of Jupiter? He said, oh, really? I don't know about that. Well, I bought this ring. It's done in sterling silver. And I wear it on my right hand because this is my receptive hand. And I wanted to draw to myself the blessings of Jupiter, which are prosperity and success. And I think it worked because here it is 10 years later. Psychobot's still in business and I'm still with YouTube and it's still going every day. So yay to the sigil of Jupiter. I'm a big believer in it. You guys can see that sigil.
Now I'm impressed with Tony's rings. He has the best set of rings for being a Lord Guardian ever. They really pack a punch, don't they, Tony? Show us your rings.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I have.
Look at this.
I found this online. Not the pentacle ring, but I bought that a long time ago. But, this ring was called the Guardian's Ring, and I just thought it was perfect for what my title was, and I had to have it, so I bought this a little while ago. But I ordered a size 13, and it came pretty small for a 13, so I had to cut it and open it up in the bottom and make it fit. But that's pretty much it. It's got everything I need. It used to have an onyx in there somewhere, and I think it fell out, so I'm going to have to fill it with something else now. So.
It's so cool. It's like a fist with its own little rings on.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I think that's amazing.
But yeah, that's that.
You're going to have to figure out what gem you want to put in that, you know?
Oh, I was thinking a big diamond.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yes. Diamond's a sign of power. It's solar energy.
I can't afford that.
You get a zirconia, it does the same thing.
It's close.
Do you know, I think I probably destroyed the jewelry industry in America when I one time was talking about gems, and I told everybody watching the videos, the video had like 10,000 views, and I said, don't buy diamonds, buy zirconia. And everybody wrote me. I got letters for weeks after that, people saying, oh, thank God, I went and bought zirconia. I saved a lot of money. I thought, boy, I just wiped out a lot of local jewelry stores.
That's funny. I'm wearing a ring here. My grandmother gave me this, and it's a mystic topaz, and I am bonkers about it. She treated me to it whenever I moved away from Oklahoma there. She gifted it to me. I've seen her wear this ring for my whole childhood, and I'd always ooh and ah over it. And then she gave it to me when I was moving away, and it was just so sweet. And it reminds me of a moonstone and an opal, and it's just wonderful. That's a mystic topaz.
I think that's beautiful. Ooh, I'm loving it.
Mm-hmm. Now, as I lose weight, though, just like Tony and ring sizes, it's all sloppy on me now. So I'm having to wear it while the wearing is good because I might have to have it resized. Hopefully, if I lose a bunch of weight, I'll have to have all my nice rings resized. But for now, I'm enjoying it still. So that's a whole other
Well, I tell you, good luck finding jeweler that'll do it. I have just I can't find jewelers to do anything anymore. You know, so I hope you can find somebody. Anyways, a lot of people love your ring. They're saying yay.
Right on. Got a lot of regulars in the chat, each week, and that's so awesome. We're so glad you all are here. You really make the show. It wouldn't be a show without you guys too, because sometimes we don't know what to talk about. We rely on y'all to bring up the topics.
Flower Rose Tiki Apricot Blue Apricot Angels here. She's from England. Hello, dear. Good to see you. Another British person. Debbie Webby's here. Oh my gosh, we have so many people. This is great. You guys are wonderful. You know, when we talk about sigil magic, you know, this again goes back to, and I always say it, use the KISS principle. Keep it simple, simple. You know, you don't have to draw sigils that take 3 days to draw. You know, try to keep it simple, because you want, while you're creating that sigil, you want to have a lot of focus. You want to be really clear on your intent. And if you get too worried about if you got the lines aligned perfectly, you kind of might lose your focus. So keep it simple.
Shadowlander asks a great question. He says, yo guys, how would one use runes to work with the elements?
Lord Tony, you're a rune master. Maybe you can talk about that.
I am not a rune master. I don't even deal with weather magic. If I were to say anything, I would just I would just come up with something for like good rains for your gardens, for your yard, good rains for your neighborhood, or the country that needs it. You know, things like that. You know, if you need a lot of sunlight, you know, for your plants, a lot of good sunshine for your plants, and rain for another day. You know, I really don't know how to use the runes right now. So other than what I did,
I think that's good advice. And I think, you know, one of the things like Angela was talking about earlier, you could put runes on stones and put them in your garden,
or on your flower pots,
or on, yeah, there's a way, you know, and that way you're drawing in the different elemental energies. Each rune, I think, also carries its own energy. Like, for example, the one I showed earlier, Algiz, that's a fire rune, because that's about drawing down power from the heavens. It's literally a firepower for protection. So, you know, that would definitely tie into fire. Some of them are more passive runes, and there'd be more like water, or they might be like earth. And so I don't know that they've actually codified each rune as an element, but I think you can interpret them as you will. And if you are consistent in your interpretation, you'll build up an energy there.
Well, Bob, there also are certain sigils that are specific to elements. For example, a lot of times a sigil that's like a circle with a cross in it to represent earth, or even a triangle that points down with the line as earth. For water, it's an upside down triangle with the point down, kind of like a chalice to represent earth. Or you could even draw a symbol of like a little plant sprouting with little leaves. That could be your sigil for earth. For fire, a lot of times it's the triangle that points right up, kind of like a flame. And yeah, or you could even draw a candle's flame or just a flame to represent fire. Water could be squiggle lines that are kind of like waves. You know, that's a wonderful way to use the elements.
And you know, that there you go. Is that what you're talking about, Lady Angela?
Yes, exactly.
See, guys, these are different symbols. And like she said, there could be earth, there's fire, there's another earth symbol, there's water.
Yep.
And, you know, that leads me into reminder, because I was drawing the lines here. This is the Aquarius sigil.
Yep.
And the zodiac all has sigils as well that tie to energies and elements. So, yes, like, you know, like, for example, the Aries symbol, and like it's like a ram's head.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Aries sigil right there. And so you can also work with the zodiac sigils to draw on the energies of that sign.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I have some pages if you're really interested in the traditional sigils on Rare Wicca Spells. I have some actual Book of Shadows pages I designed that have several different symbols. One's for the Sabbats, one's for full moon, new moon, dark moon, for Athame, different sigils you can actually use in your Book of Shadows. But I have whole like charts over there you can find. Type in symbols and it'll pop up, and also type in sigils. But if you're interested in looking for some pages, I do have some available. And also in the elements pages, it shows sigils for the elements on there as well. So take a peek over there. And also there's a lot of great books out there on sigil magic. Some are angelic sigils, some are like the Necronomicon, like Psychic Bob and Tony were talking about. There's a lot of wonderful books out there on sigil magic and runic magic. There's a whole world of possibilities in books for those.
Absolutely. I would also encourage you to read books on candle magic. I have a number of candle magic books that also give sigils to carve on candles that are outside just runes, like other types of sigils too.
Tony, what were you going to show us there?
I was going to say, I have another, there's another method here for doing sigils. If you wanted to, I'm not sure if you can read it from that side. I'm not sure if everything is reversed. But, you know, it basically states, I am calm and content. You know, same thing, you take the letters, first letter, get rid of the vowels and multiple, you know, double letters. Make yourself a line of numbers and then assign your letters, the alphabet numbers to it. Make a wheel with the numbers the way they are there and connect the dots. And you end up with a sigil that looks like this.
Oh.
All of that.
Amazing.
You know,
oh, like if the first letter's a 1 and then the next one's a 4.
Yeah.
Oh.
You assign a number to each letter that you have after you break it down from the vowels.
That's
exactly.
Cool.
Oh, that's really brilliant, Tony. Very.
Yeah, I had a little bit of time before I started today.
I love it. I'm very impressed. See, I told you Tony's a rune master. He just doesn't know it yet. Sigil master. Well, rune master's a little different. Well, he's both, you know.
I like to scribble.
Well, you know, Lord Tony, I have to probably show it next week. I don't have it here, but I was going to show Tony because he loves the Necronomicon. Tony, I don't know if I told you this. I have an original hardbound copy in leather of the Necronomicon.
Ooh, no, I never saw that.
From the 1970s, one of the original hardbound prints, and I will show it to you. I have that next week for you. So.
Yeah, I just have the soft cover.
Okay. It's all the same, you know.
Yeah.
The hardbound ones are rare to get, and I bought it from somebody who had no clue what they were selling.
Does yours have the story of the Mad Arab in there, and then goes into the 50 names of Marduk?
I think so, yeah. And it's done in silver, engraving in the leather, like it's embossed in silver, the cover, with the Necronomicon sigil, the gateway on the cover.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Now, Bob, we have Easter coming up, and we just had Ostara, which was our spring season. And still it's Ostara season, and maybe we could talk about different things that we've used on our Ostara altar. I've used stones that are shaped kind of like eggs and bunnies, and I have a really neat egg-shaped stone. I love using it. This is made out of labradorite, and it's about the size of an egg, not quite as big and fat as an egg, but that's labradorite. And this is something that I use on my altar and in my home during the season of Easter time and Ostara, the coming of spring. Different egg-shaped stuff.
I love that. Oh, Angela. Now, if that goes disappearing, don't look my way. I promise I didn't steal it. Behind my back.
I kind of have something to the same tune there, Lord. I'll keep this with me also, too. So
that's labradorite, right?
Labradorite. Made sure I wanted the all blue sheen to it.
Oh, I love it.
I have to go if you want to.
Keep
talking. I'm going to go show you something I got for my altar. Hold on just a second. Okay? I'll be right back.
I love it when our show's all show and tell like, don't you, Tony?
Yeah, you never know what to expect. You know, it's like you brought the labradorite out, and I'm like, I have the same thing in my pocket.
Yours is very pretty. Yours like sparkles with the blue, like this blue onyx. Yours has that sheen inside it. I love your labradorite.
Yeah, I didn't want any other colors with it, so I searched long and hard for just an all blue one, and I found that one.
That's cool. But you know, this one came from Madagascar. I found it on eBay, and I didn't expect it to be this large, you know, because pictures are deceiving on eBay. And when it came, and I was like, holy cow, it's like the size of an egg. I was so pleased. Lots of people were looking at Moldavite over on eBay too from your suggestions. And I know Gav has posted some pictures and others, and you talked about how if it comes from Czechoslovakia, it's pretty much real most times. And it got me looking. There's some pretty Moldavite out there.
Yeah, it's some pretty expensive stuff, but you have to really watch out for it now too, because sorry to any of our China listeners, but the Chinese Moldavite is not real. It's glass. It does not come in a perfectly shaped bubble or sphere. Doesn't come in red. Does not come in gold. It is strictly this apple green, and you could, if you put real against the fake, there's no telling, there's no doubt which one is the real and which was the fake. I actually reported, after looking at Gav's picture that he showed me, I actually reported a couple of eBay sites because they're wanting ridiculous amounts of money for just pieces of what looks like sea glass with acid dimples put on them. So
yep.
I just thought it was ridiculous.
Peter Yingling asks, are you guys referring to the H.P. Lovecraft Necronomicon?
Exactly.
Yes.
No. Oh, it is? The H.P. Lovecraft Necronomicon?
Well, the one that was published was by Simon, I believe. But
yeah, it was done with Simon. Yeah, a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stuff is kind of put in there.
Yeah. Look what I got on my altar. I have a larger one. I can't find it, but I got recently some golden eggs.
Oh, how neat.
I just love the symbology of the golden egg. And many of you know, if you've studied Hinduism, there's the god Lord Shiva. And many times people that honor Lord Shiva, who's the Lord of yogis, they put what's called a lingam stone on their altar. And many lingams look very much like eggs. And so I got this as kind of a lingam stone egg, and it represents new beginnings and prosperity and the mystery of the universe. It's like the cosmic totality.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's part of my Ostara.
People are really liking that.
Joanne B said, Bob's back.
Yeah.
I have too much junk in my house. That's my problem. I gather everything, and then it all gets mixed up in multiple boxes.
Sage asks, is that made out of pyrite?
No, these are actually just plastic. They're just plastic eggs. They're not exciting. In fact, they open up so you can put stuff in them if you want. In fact, I went to a ritual once where they had a really cool thing. It was an Ostara ritual, and everybody, when they left the circle, there was an Easter basket, and they had to take an egg. And when you opened it up, it had like a mystic rune and a fortune for you for this upcoming year, like what it meant.
Oh, that's cool.
You can use eggs. I call these as manifestation devices. Like you can write your desire on it and put it in it, hold it till it comes to fruition,
Oh, Bob, people could even write out a petition, like a wish they want to come true, or write out a protective rune and even put it in one of the little plastic like eggs, the little cheapy ones you get around this time of year. And you could bury that by your front door or poke it down in your house plant and stuff like that. That's a good example to incorporate sigils and eggs.
I think that's a wonderful idea. Absolutely. When we talk about magic, there's so many ways to bring the spiritual power into our lives. And I think one of the best things about Wicca is that it encourages us to tap into our desire, our true creative process. And we're given that as a spiritual gift. We share in the essence of the gods because the gods are creative beings. I always find it funny, and I don't mean to rag on Christians, but I always find it amusing when I sometimes will get in discussions with Christian ministers because they hate me because I'm a Wiccan, and they'll start saying, oh, I'm evil, I'm of the devil. And I always put back the argument. I said, I'll say, do you think God is a liberal? They're very conservative. And they'll say, oh, God is conservative. I said, really? I said, well, would you agree God is an artist? And then they're like, well, God created. That's what artist creates. I said, if you look at the universe and the creation of the divine, God is a liberal because God creates. And I've never met an artist who is a right-wing conservative fanatic, So the very nature of the divine, I think, shows through the creativity. And we as people, when we create, we're connecting to that higher spirit. We really are. My 2 cents.
Amy Kraft said something absolutely hilarious. She says Easter is on April Fool's Days this year. She's going to make a basket and glue all the eggs to the bottom.
That is golden. Oh my God. I'm loving that. That's brilliant.
That is funny as all.
That's right.
Just
It
don't,
is on April Fool's.
just tell the kids to go outside and look for eggs you never hid.
We're not going to Tony's house. I don't think we'll get any chocolate. Think about it's available for Easter to go to anybody's house that has chocolate.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to pick up the chocolate eggs outside my yard right now.
What's that?
That's funny.
You wouldn't want to pick up the chocolate eggs that are probably in my yard right now.
Oh, no. I love it. Oh my gosh. Somebody just asked a question here. Luna Siren says, my daughter's birthday is on Easter this year. Going to have tons of fun with her. All good stuff. No tricks or pranks.
Oh, notice. So her daughter's birthday is on April Fool's Day. I bet they have a load of fun every year.
My brother's that way too.
What's that?
My brother's birthday is on April Fool's Day too.
That's cool.
Wow. Well, I think Easter, I was at the store the other day, and every time, all around this area, they're all into Easter at all the stores. And I tell you, everything I'm seeing looks pagan to me. I'm seeing bunnies and eggs and all sort of, pagan symbols. I just love it. So people said, do you celebrate Easter? I said, oh yeah, I call it Ostara, but it's the same thing, and they said, well, what about Jesus? And I said, I like Jesus. They said, he resurrected. I said, oh, I believe that. I said, the divine can do anything. See, so God resurrecting is nothing shocking to me. I don't have a problem with that. So I like Easter.
Yep, I love it. It's for me a festival of spring, of birth, of fertility, of potential, of creativity. It's one of my favorite seasons and also one of my favorite holidays. For that reason of the nature of Ostara, of spring and of everything blooming and blossoming and new life. I love it. It's really exciting to me in that way.
Absolutely, and I'll have to do a video soon about Ostara. I didn't get one out this week. It's been a little hectic for me, but we'll talk a little bit more about the Wheel of the Year this coming week on, I think, Wicca Wednesday. But, I think it's so important that we do kind of recognize the turning of the wheel, and it really, as Lady Angela said, I think you're so right, Angela, is about, it's new life. And we all need a resurrection from time to time. We all get to points in our life where we feel like we're burned out. We feel like we're done. I know some of you have written to me and you've had very rough years. This year has been very difficult. Let Ostara be your time to resurrect. Jesus came back from death. So, hey, if he can do that, we can do a lot too, And, Jesus said, I think he was right. He said, the kingdom of God is within you. So we all share in that resurrection power. We have power. So never let anybody tell you that you don't have power.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And don't limit yourself. God is limitless. And so be open to be open-minded, and that's whenever you really find yourself, I think, and you find spirit and you find your way. Bob, it's already time. My goodness.
Oh my God. Guys, I think when we do a show, we enter a time warp. Do y'all agree? I mean, I feel like we just sit down and now the hour's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad you guys came out tonight, and I wish we had more time. I think there's so much more we can talk about, but I hope tonight we've given you just a little insight on sigil magic. And I got to give a big shout out to Gav Hines in London, who put a beautiful picture on Facebook. I saw it of his wonderful sigil work. Thank you, Gav. That was very inspiring to all of us tonight. If you haven't seen that, go over to Facebook. You'll see it, okay? But I'm glad all of you came out, and I just want to say thank you. You made it a wonderful Sunday. I look forward to this every week. And, I thought Lady Angela and Lord Tony might want to share some parting words also.
We're so glad to all of our regulars. We're glad to all of our new people. And definitely call and schedule a reading with Bob. They are out of this world. They really are. 1 full hour, one-on-one, just you and him. And he does it either by phone. He could do it by Skype, so it's face-to-face. And if you're lucky enough to live in his area, he also does them in person. But get a reading with Bob. They are amazing, and you will not regret it.
Thank you, Lady Angela. I do love to read, and I do hope, a lot of you here have come out and had private sessions. I want to say thank you. And you've been very supportive of my work. I feel very privileged to be able to do what I do and do it. I literally do it all day long. And people always say goodbye. How do you do readings all day long? Don't you get tired? And honestly, like tonight, every reading feels like 5 minutes. Doesn't it, Angela? I mean, you know, you've had a reading with me.
Oh, yeah.
Me as well. So, you know, if you have time and interest, I would invite you to do that. And you can contact me at my website, which the link will be below this. Call my office, 571-483-2112, or write to me at readings@robert-ickman.com. Again, link will be in the info box below this video. Lord Tony, do you have any parting thoughts tonight?
No, I learned some new things, got to teach some things. I had a great time tonight. These definitely, they go by way too fast. 2 hours, I don't think we can do yet, like you were saying earlier. It's just, but yeah, an hour, just, it's a lot to put in short time for it all to get in there. And but yeah, I'm having a great time doing this. I hope everyone else is too. It's a
Tony,
blast.
I want to say thank you. I am so impressed with your sigil lesson tonight. This was very helpful to me, and it gives me something to work on. So, and I think all of us here, we all agree that was pretty amazing.
It was very amazing, Tony.
I am working on one. I'm still working. I've been working on it for months. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it off yet. Is a special one for protection for all OPC members.
I love it. Well, we're going to look forward to seeing that. Lord Tony, would you tell people how to reach you again if they want to have a session with you?
Yeah, you can reach me at, just type in HTTPS, make sure you put the S in there, .. / lightbringersangel.simdiff, it's SIMDIF.com, or just Google me at Lightbringers Angel. And
we'll put your link below in the comments too. Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely write it down there.
Please put it down there for everybody. Well, guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. Listen, keep it here at Spiritual. We got more coming tomorrow. What's tomorrow, Lady Angela? Monday?
Monday.
Does that mean horoscopes?
Yep.
All right, guys, be back here. We're going to have horoscopes on Monday, and I hope you'll be here for that. Listen, we all need your help. We want to keep the show going, but we need your support because YouTube's been hassling me a lot the last few months, trying to get me to shut down my channel. Psychic Bob's not going anywhere, but I need your support. I need you to like this video, favorite it, share this with your friends, post this video around. You have my permission. Put it on your website, put it on your Facebook page. We want to build up this channel so that YouTube has a harder time trying to push me out. So I hope you'll help me in that way, and I'd sure be thankful for that. So listen, we're getting ready to go because, oh my gosh, it's 9 o'clock, and that means it's the witching hour. Listen, thanks for being here. Good night. Lady Angela, Tony, you want to say good night again?
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Been a blast.
Good night, guys. Thanks for being here. I love you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow for horoscopes. Until then, may you all blessed be.